most of that time was without ever even casting a spell. It was literally all just psychological. It was all me growing and changing and becoming a different person. Oh my gosh, can you decide what you want to focus on? Are you done? Maybe if I turn the light on. What if I put myself right in your face? Whoa, we're gonna do the video like this. There we go. Alright. Jeez. Where's the... We got this. And I don't know what I'm doing. Hi. I'm Catalyst. I'm nervous. Is it hot in here? I've never tried to make long form content before, so there's a first time for everything. So I'm Catalyst. I want to start making long form content, but I haven't really decided what kind of content I want to make. So we're just gonna start with like a little introduction video where I yap about myself and who I am and why I made this channel. I'm very nervous because I'm going to disclose some things that I haven't talked about openly ever in my life. The main thing that I have talked about, we'll get to the secret stuff in a little bit. I am obviously a witch. I consider myself a chaos practitioner, also known as a fuck around and find out kind of practitioner. My ADHD is a little too strong for me to have the patience to sit down and like read tomes and learn all the intricacies of how things are done, so I will engage in the spark notes and then throw myself in and figure it out as I go. And sometimes this has worked out for me, and sometimes it has not worked out for me. But you live and you learn. I'm still here, and I've gained wisdom from my mistakes just as much as I have from my victories. I think right now, as it stands, I have gotten into the habit of 30 years of masking and also being in denial with myself. In the last year and a half or 2 years, somewhere around that time, I've come to the realization that I have some kind of personality disorder, be it DIAD, OSDD, schizophrenia. I don't have a diagnosis yet, but I definitely have more than one person up here. It's been kind of debilitating for me. It took someone else pointing it out, and then me going through a spiral of denial, and then seeking out some of my other really close friends for confirmation, like, do I do this, am I this way, and like piecing everything together for me to realize it. But eventually the alters started coming forward and introducing themselves to other people, and after some time of working through what I was experiencing, I just started accepting that it is the way that things are for me. Because if I kept sitting in this position of like wanting undeniable proof that this is it and that I'm not an imposter and I'm not just making it up for attention, I was able to just come to the conclusion that this is my life. It doesn't matter how we got here, what matters is that we are here. The moment I was able to accept it, sooner I was able to start living with it and working with these different alters and figuring out how to coexist, because of all the alters that we've met so far, we're pretty convinced this is all of them, but there could be more that are hiding. I don't know. I don't know enough about my system to be sure whether we are aware of every alter, but the ones that we are aware of right now do all want our body, our collective, to be able to live a somewhat normal life. We're all trying to achieve that. Where the conflict happens is that what that looks like is different to each of us. And in some things we agree, and in some things we disagree. Talking about this openly right now is something that some of us disagree with. But I'm tired of hiding, and I'm tired of living a lie. And I want to be myself. So I'm going to be. Because of this, I also have the unique position of existing in a body where some of us are spiritual, and some of us are skeptics. And there's a sort of sliding scale on what we each believe and how much we believe. And it can cause a crisis of faith. It can cause self-doubt. And it can also cause disconnects in my practice. Trying to find the line between where my mental illness ends and where my spirituality starts. Because that's another big roadblock for me, is coming to accept that, like, oh, is this a deity that is approaching me? Or am I in a delusion? Or is that an altar that we don't know about who's pretending to be a deity and trick me into doing things that they want me to do instead of, there's all these roadblocks that have been in the way of my practice. And I think that I should be forthcoming about that, not just for the audience I'm trying to develop, but also for myself, because the sooner I'm able to be transparent about what I'm going through, the easier it will be to discuss those discrepancies in my personality, in my opinions, in the way I react to comments even. A good example of these discrepancies is one of the altars made a video criticizing the witch community over the Renee Good situation. And they had a very strong opinion about it. But then when comments started rolling in, one of the more passive people-pleaser altars came out and was responding to comments in a more passive way, and it looked like we didn't actually stand for what we were saying, and were backpedaling in the comments when people posted on it, which looks bad when you think we're only one person, because then you think that I don't have any backbone. I'm not going to stand up for what I'm actually saying. The moment I get pushback, suddenly I'm, rolling back and not willing to confront what I said in the first place. I got distracted on a side quest. I'm back now. I needed to go and meet my boyfriend for a smoke because he was on break. I had to go really quick, but I realized I had 70 million cups. I just wanted to ask if anybody else relates to the cup table of doom. You have 7 cups on your nightstand, and you gotta take the walk of shame through the house and hope nobody sees you carrying 7 cups out of your bedroom. So I took those to the kitchen. And then in the kitchen, I saw the dishes needed to be put in the dishwasher. And as I was putting the dishes in the dishwasher, a jar appeared. I noticed that one of the jars has been emptied, which means another jar to add to the empty jar collection that everybody complains about me having. Perfect pull. That's satisfying. I don't even gotta use the grease degreaser. The grease degreasers. Yep. Hell yeah. And so then I had to run away from the crime scene. Now it's time to stealthily lay it out on my dresser so that when my boyfriend comes in after work, he'll look at it and go, "Is that another jar?" Yes, it is. No jar left behind. So anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about, which means we're probably gonna jump track from whatever I was interrupted from, and if that's something that you hate the cliffhanger for, I apologize. I'm complain enough and maybe I'll finish my thought later. Who are you? Who sent you? Keep getting distracted. I think we were talking about like mental illness and, you know, like psychosis and spiritual psychosis, and then like actual spirituality and getting genuine signs and like having to use discernment and self-awareness to tell the difference, because it can be hard and it can be scary, and if you don't trust yourself and you can't trust your own mind, it makes trusting reality complicated. Being aware of the fact that I have some kind of personality disorder that's causing like delusions essentially, and that my mind is segregated and we all have different personalities and different behaviors and different opinions, it can make building a foundation in spirituality really difficult. And so I have been a practitioner for, I'm 32 now, like 13 years, but I've been interested in it even earlier than that. But because I was so unstable and I didn't trust myself and I couldn't trust myself, like it was valid for me to be second guessing everything. It very much was a barrier in my practice and why I've been in and out of taking it seriously for most of my life. It really took learning and accepting this personality disorder and like getting to know it instead of trying to hide it or trying to like be in denial about it or fighting against the idea of it. Like the moment I just stopped caring, like if I made it up, then I made it up. If it's really DID, then it's DID. It doesn't matter. What matters is that ever since I accepted it as the truth and started interacting with the other parts and getting to know everybody inside my system, so it's a really fine line to walk. And I had to get to know myself, and I had to get to know myselves. And I've been doing what is essentially shadow work for a really long time now. I would say the brunt of my spiritual journey in the last decade has just been me confronting the worst parts of myself and getting to know those parts and meeting them with compassion and healing them and finding the root of where that behavior comes from. And then instead of like feeling shame for it, you know, considering ways that that kind of behavior could be directed in a more productive way. Every bad behavior stems from an impulse, and that impulse can be retrained. You can become self-aware of the kind of issues that you have. You can learn to identify them and then redirect that energy in a better way. And that's what I've spent the last decade trying to do. With the lack of medical assistance and being impoverished my whole life, not really being able to afford going to a doctor or getting any genuine help, it's been a hurdle because I've essentially had to therapize myself. And in hindsight, I think that that was the keystone of my spiritual path and what I've learned and how I've grown. And most of that time was without ever even casting a spell. It was literally all just psychological. It was all me growing and changing and becoming a different person. Because regardless of what you're doing or how you're doing it, the nature of the craft is to elevate your life and to, find your power. And my phone is dying, so unfortunately, I'm no longer using the mic. So if I sound different, that's why. Sorry about the dogs. No matter what that looks like for you, it should be about you. And I think I needed to learn that before I could move into any of the other paths. It took a long time for me to get to that point where I was comfortable enough to step into my own power. I have to go soon because groceries have arrived. So I will just close out with this. I'm coming from a place of wisdom most of the time and experience, because I have been actively practicing for at least 5 or 6 years now, and learning and doing the actual work past, healing myself. But I'm also learning a lot, and I'm also here to grow and to build a community, and I want to meet people that are like-minded so that we can share our wisdom, so that we can grow together. I'm hesitant because I don't know what I'm doing, but that's not going to stop me from trying. Anyway, just remember that you are the catalyst of your own reality, and have a good day.